I'm Andy Ely, Senior Funeral Director for G. Seller Independent Funeral Directors, and we've been serving bereaved families since 1910. I'm sure you're all well aware there's lots of different myths, taboos and misconceptions around what happens behind the scenes within the funeral profession. So we decided to put together this series of podcasts to answer those questions and hopefully dispel those myths. So please do like, share and subscribe, and send those questions, send them to liftingthelid@gseller.co.uk, and we will do our absolute best to answer them for you. It genuinely is our family caring for your family. Welcome to the latest episode of Lifting the Lid. Today I have with me the wife of the late Peter Eldis, the former CEO of Holland & Barrett. Celie, welcome.
Thank you.
Great to meet you. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Good. Celie, your journey, just tell me a little bit about yourself, your relationship with Peter, where you're at.
We was together for 19 years. We met in the pub.
Okay.
Best place to meet.
Brilliant.
And we just hit it off straight away from there. We've had a lot of fun times together. We've done lots of things. Obviously, with his job, he's had loads of events, parties, everything to go to. So we were a bit of the wild side and say yes to everything.
With a party life.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. So Peter, bless him, unfortunately passed away. Can you just talk us through your journey through the loss of your husband? I mean, how did it happen?
Do you want to know like what happened on that day? Or I'm happy to
Able
talk
to
about that. Yeah.
Anything you want to tell me is.
He actually thought he had food poisoning that morning.
Okay.
And he called me to say he was going to get the train back from London. Then I said to him, I'll come down to London to pick you up because I didn't want him to go back on the train being sick everywhere if you've got food poisoning. So I drove down and then I got to not far from the hotel and I was trying to ring him and I just knew something wasn't right. Me and my son was in the car, Arthur. So I rang the hotel because he was diabetic. So being sick, I thought maybe his sugar could have gone low anything like that. And I rang the hotel and asked them to go check on him. And when I got to the hotel, I just knew because all the hotel staff had lined the stairs and obviously knew that he'd passed away. He had a heart attack. I suppose one of the blessings of being a diabetic is they say that you are less likely to feel a heart attack than like your normal healthy person because of the nervous system. It doesn't feel as much, I suppose, or the nerves aren't there. That's what I pray that happened.
Yeah, absolutely. So quite quick, quite peaceful.
Yeah. And no, you can't.
So no, obviously that's traumatic in itself. You have bereavement there. You've got grief.
Yeah.
And then you move on to arranging and looking after Peter's funeral. I mean, how do you go about doing that in those circumstances?
I was just in a daze through it all.
Okay.
I wasn't going to go. I was going to go to the funeral, but I wasn't going to go to the wake afterwards. I just didn't want to be around loads of people and people laughing and joking and having a good time. Not a good time, but they're having a drink or there's music on and. That bit was tough, but I don't know. I just focused on little bits like I really want him to have a nice coffin, so that was my main priority. And
so you put a lot of input into making things personal.
His brother helped with like the wake and the funeral, and I wrote a poem to read at the funeral, and that would have been something that I would never have done. There was over maybe 100 people in the church, and that would have been my worst nightmare, but. It was nothing. It meant it.
Did you read it yourself?
Yeah, I wrote it and said it myself, and I wasn't sure if I would be able to do it. But when I got there, and you just like the adrenaline, not adrenaline, but like you really don't care what there's no one else in the room, even though there's 100 people there. there's only you and the coffin sort of thing.
Okay, so really, really intimate feeling.
Yeah.
You kind of shut
Yeah, I
everyone
wouldn't be
else
able
out
to
and
tell
it's
you
just
where anybody sat or what anybody was doing or where they were. Or
Did you attend the wake? You said you wasn't going to.
I did, yeah.
You did?
And I remember getting in there. I just felt like a lost puppy, even though there was so many people in the room that I knew everybody. It was like obviously there was the parts that were really lonely, but that one walking in the wake was the loneliest. I think it was also because I hadn't really been to a function or whatever, like without Peter usually, and it was always us two that walked in together, and then there was this big room full of people, and even though all your family's there, your nieces and nephews, your son, your stepchildren, but it felt like the loneliest place in the world.
Did you have support with that?
At the time when I was there?
Yeah,
I think people just they could see that I just walked through everybody and kind of sat in the corner for a little bit just to process it, really.
Yeah, absolutely. Just have your own thoughts, your own reflections.
I think for me it was just, there's no time. Like when the funeral, you're there, everybody's there, you're waiting for the funeral cars, then you're at the church and everybody's there, then the wait. Like there's no time to just breathe. It's just all so fast, and you've got to kind of you're just trying to keep up.
Keep going.
Yeah.
What's life been like since the funeral for you? And you mentioned Arthur as well.
Like before Christmas, it was really tricky because I was just like crying all the time, and just when it got to that point, and then Arthur just wanted me to be happy because it was a really happy house before. Like the three of us, we had a laugh, we joked, I'd hide in cupboards, I'd play more tricks than what Arthur does on anybody, and it was fun and vibrant, and then it felt a bit lifeless. Even though there was still two out of the three fun people there, it was still not the same.
Okay.
So it lacked that, but when it got to Christmas was like really tough, and when I got to the new year, I just made a decision that I just cannot cry every single day. It's exhausting. You've got to kind of think of the happy things rather than the death, and having that at the forefront of your mind 24/7.
So you're dealing with grief of the loss of your husband. I mean, how do you balance that with being a mum to Arthur, and dealing with his grief as well, no doubt? How did you?
I'm not even sure if I balance it. I probably have a lot of guilt towards Arthur that he's lost his dad, and I feel like I carry that guilt for that. Like, oh, I'm so sorry for you. Like, balancing it. I suppose we try to do fun things. I'm a bit outdoorsy and like going outdoors, and it seems like the tables have sort of turned between me and Arthur. He's turned into the parent what is like, be careful, Mum. Like, really? I'm on top of something with no hands, and he's like, be careful. I'm like, come up, it's really fun and liberating up here. And he's like, no. Like we went zip wiring the other day.
Oh, wow, okay.
I'm just straight up, straight down, waiting at the bottom of Arthur, and he's like, I can't do it. It's too scary. I nearly fainted. I'm getting hot and I feel sick. I'm like, do it. You get one life. Do all the things that you need to do.
So that's a really pertinent point. It sounds like you've kind of embraced that. You're choosing to go on. Is this how you've kind of navigated your way through this, through your grief?
Yeah, I think with Peter being a diabetic, I had a lot of anxiety over his diabetes. Not necessarily like it overshadowed everything, but like your sugar can go low at any time. Like I know we managed it well because he'd have a sensor on and stuff, but it was always like a bit scary. And now I'm just like, I just don't, like, he lived his life. He was so not worried about, and it was him that it would happen to if his sugar went low. And even he was like, don't worry about it, I've got sweets in my pocket or whatever. And I'm like, oh, I think we're in the middle of the woods. What happens? But
what do we do?
So I think for me with my anxiety, it's not like the anxiety before with Peter. It's not that it's disappeared. It's actually, I've learned from him, like, fuck it, live your life, do what you need to do, and just get on with it.
So has your experience there, has that affected your resilience and your perspective on life? It sounds like, from what you've just said there, absolutely.
Yeah, massively.
Tell us a bit more.
With, like, resilience of, well, I just don't...
You've just lost your husband, and you've been really resilient. You've got a
Nothing's scary. Nothing's, like, outside of your comfort box. The most scariest thing was walking into that room and seeing Peter dead, and, like... What tops that? Nothing. So everything else is a breeze.
So you're kind of embracing this life that you've built together. Yeah. You're continuing it.
I want to do it for him. I want to go like the beauty about him was he was just so carefree. He just did. I don't mean like in an arrogance. He did what he when he wanted. It's almost like he knew. Like a little superpower that nobody else knew, you know, like he'd do what he wanted to do, and like it didn't really matter even like to me, like he'd be like, oh, I'm doing this, and I'd be desensitized to it, to be fair, so I would never go like, no, don't do that, because he'd do it anyway. So it's easier just to go, oh, have a good time. Let me know.
And you're carrying on with that.
Yeah, I think that was one of the biggest things that I've learnt from him, is just chill out. Don't sweat the little stuff and just try everything once.
We'd like to pause and take a moment to mention our partner for this podcast, Golden Charter. This podcast contains promotional messages about funeral planning. G. Seller & Company Limited is an appointed representative of Golden Charter Limited, trading as Golden Charter Funeral Plans, which is authorised and regulated by the Financial Conduct Authority. We know it's never easy to think about death, but there are several good reasons why having a funeral plan makes perfect sense. From an emotional, practical, and financial point of view, planning your funeral in advance is a chance to take control, feel prepared, and get peace of mind for you and the ones you care about. We work in partnership with Golden Charter, one of the UK's largest funeral plan providers, who have over 30 years' experience and have helped over 900,000 people plan ahead for their funeral. Working together, G. Seller and Golden Charter can offer you the personal service and support when it matters most, and the reassurance and the security of a leading funeral plan provider.
In terms of support network, people around you, I mean, have you had much support? Has people helped you through this time?
Yeah, people have helped me, but I was just going to say I haven't needed help. I've worked on my brain for years and years and years, and that's prepared me maybe for that situation. That's why I was doing it. But I didn't need, like, people have said to me, have you had therapy or do you need this? No, I don't need it. I don't feel like I need it, because I work hard on putting my best foot forward every day and trying to have the best day you can. Okay,
so the impact on friends and family, your grief, your journey, has there been much of an impact about this experience?
Friends and family, for them.
But for you, for them?
Oh yeah, but I'm like a very outgoing person, and I love being around people, but equally, on the other hand, I've always been a bit of a recluse, and I love my own time, and
that really surprises me.
Paint, and I lock myself away for weeks on end, and not lock away, but you know what I mean. I'm not like, oh, what's anyone doing? I'm not bothered, whatever. I never get FOMO, shall I say. I'm quite happy just doing my own thing. So for me, time on my own is like that precious time for me to grieve, and not necessarily sitting there crying, grieving, but just thinking about everything.
Okay.
And trying to process it in whatever way you can.
Okay. How do you honour Peter and this life as you move forward with your own?
I go to the pub every Friday.
Okay.
Every Friday, without a doubt.
Is there a particular tipple down at the pub? Or?
Well, he did there wasn't anything he didn't like, so anything goes, but he was fond of a beer, so I'm partial to a beer myself.
Fair play.
Red wine's my thing, but not in a white dress.
No, I don't have that problem, obviously.
No. So I don't just mean that just a Friday honour him. I feel like I honour him every day. I look up to him. I feel like he's pretty, like, I know this is probably weird to say, but I feel like he's my mentor even now. Like,
Okay.
what I do kind of, I'm not just doing it for him, because you obviously have your own life to live now that you're, like, on your own. But there were so many great things he taught me. Like, I'm blessed that he chose to give me, like, that lesson in life of death, that he chose me to see it through, like, his death. Because he could have picked anybody, he could have been with anybody.
It's really interesting.
And that's like, I'm honoured, I'm blessed for that.
Absolutely. I was saying, it's really interesting, your perspective here, your grief, and you're kind of carrying on
Yeah.
the way that you always do, I guess. I think that's a quote from a poem, in fact. But doing it in Peter's honour.
Yeah.
One of the things that when I talk to families is one of the harder aspects of dealing with grief is anniversaries.
Yeah.
So the anniversary of passing, the first birthday, Christmas. I think we're fast approaching one of those.
Yeah.
How are you going to navigate that? It's a difficult question because you perhaps don't know, but...
For me, I would like, I've already planned to go to Scotland with Arthur.
Okay.
Because Peter's birthday is on the 17th of June, and then there's Father's Day is on the 16th, I think, this year. So in true Celia and Arthur style, we take away to the mountains and lock ourselves away from everybody.
Excellent. So you're keeping yourself together.
Yeah, I just, for me, I don't mean, like, I mean, maybe family and friends might have a little gathering or do what they need to do, but for me, this year isn't the right year for me to do that. Maybe next year, maybe not, maybe the year after, but not at the minute. Not.
Okay.
I think it would cause me too much pain to. I'd rather go and go on a boat fishing with Arthur on a lake somewhere and talk. Me and Arthur talk for hours on end about stories about Peter. So
you keep
that would make me happy.
alive in that respect. It sounds like you and I end up in the pub, to be honest with you.
Yeah, then we'll go to the pub afterwards. What did they have? I was going to say hot toddy. I'm not sure if that's Scottish. Is that Irish?
I'm not sure, actually. What are you most thankful for your journey through grief?
Giving me balls.
Okay.
I was such a wimp. Not a wimp. I wasn't a wimp before, but you have to stick up for yourself in life. And when it's only, like, I relied on Pete to, even simple things like ring, oh gosh, you need to ring this guy. Can you ring him? Because, I don't know, say the bill or whatever it could be. And Pete would always be like he was the alpha male, and I just was the girly girl that baked banana bread, make you breakfast, make you lunch, I waited on him hand and foot, and I loved it. It was like my most favourite job in the whole wide world. But it's really hard to, like, navigate yourself through that bit of, actually, you've got to kind of be the guy and the girl all in one, and you've never really planned or even learnt yourself, or even think about that you'd have to be in that situation
it's
one day.
You don't want to consider.
I know Peter was older than me, but, like, I think we kind of live naively that with, like, in a marriage, there's always two of you, but, like, it can happen any day.
Absolutely. Yeah, life is precious.
Yeah.
If you could say one more thing to him,
Yeah.
what would it be?
Come back.
Come back. Yeah, bless you.
Get your ass to the pub. I would just tell him that I loved him, and thank you for, like, even a thank you is not enough for everything that he's done for me, and even things that he's done for me after he's passed away. And there's probably no words to actually say it.
I think it's lovely that you're kind of embracing the life that you have built together, but you're continuing with it with yourself and Arthur.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Is there anything else you want to tell me?
No, that's well, I
I've drained
talking. No, you haven't.
No, brilliant. Thank you for your time.
No, thank you.
Yeah, open and honest, and it's much appreciated.
Brilliant.
Thank you. Please, if you do have any questions, send them to liftingthelid@gseller.co.uk. We'll do our best to answer them for you, of course. And in the meantime, do like, share, and subscribe. And we'll see you next time.